I'm in favor of this at this moment, not knowing what the figures are going to be of restoring it, and we will get through this process over the winter, and then next summer, go into construction.
Beyond the construction, are there any plans? I know there's been like a lot of security concerns, like, people are afraid to park in there, or is that going to be addressed also if, if indeed it stays?
It will be addressed. What I'll do is, as part of this process, we'll actually put an attendant in there. If you go to some of these ramps, you get these little boxes in the offices. We'll actually put an attendant in there. People have to charge people for parking there a nominal fee, really more or less to pay for the cost of the attendant. We'll have a lot of cameras in there because, women women especially feel, uneasy about going in the parking around, especially in nighttime. So, and we have a lot of vandalism in there, of the ramp itself, not so much the vehicles, but breaking lights and breaking the elevators and breaking doors. So we will have an attendant in there to, monitor the security in there, make sure it's safe, and we'll have a much better lighting so people feel safe in there. That's the plan.
Is not a study really needed on the ramp?
Well, I think so, Joyce. We've done a few of them. I was part of one back in the mid-90s. I think downtown has changed. I think that we need to. I think when Mayor Swan did the study back in the 90s, I think he was just throwing it out there. I was council president then. Might have been maybe because before I was. I think he was just going out there to see what it was going to cost. I think he really had an idea one way or the other if he wanted to restore it. Things, costs change, processes change in 10 years. Our city has changed in 10 years. So, I can tell you though that this will be the last study we do in the ramp because we will actually do something with the study, unlike what has been done in the past. So, you can certainly make the case that there's a lot of studies and we don't need them. I think we do need them only because of, everything's changes, prices change. I think we're going to do something with the study. We're serious about fixing the ramp. I wish we didn't have to spend the money, but it's a multi-million-dollar probably renovation. I got to make sure we do it right. So we don't have the ability, the city doesn't have the staff to make that cost. If we're going to do it, we got to do it right.
What progress is there in getting a supermarket downtown, and do you think that's a priority?
Well, listen, I would say it's been a top priority for me, but certainly it's been something that's always been on the table for us. We've talked to a couple of small chains. We almost had one in here a year or so ago. Somebody's very serious about coming in. Today we're having some serious conversations about a farmer's market. I think we'll fill that void. It's not like the Tops or anything, but if we get a farmer's market in, much like we have a Miller Sport Highway, I think it'll fill a lot of that void, and the people actually we're talking to are actually that family on Miller Sport Highway, so it'll be that type of thing. I think the challenge for us is just trying to find the right spot. There's the Jubilee building that I've been pushing for the Y and for a market. It's privately owned. It's owned by Benderson. I've talked to Benderson. I have the blueprints of that building in my office. So I'm ready to talk about it. People come in. I've sent people to Benderson. They're just not easy to work with. It's difficult. I know that we have been criticized a bit for not having a grocery store, a shoe store, a bookstore. And things are all nice. I think we like to have all the things. All I can do, I think, is try to create the environment that makes people want to come in. I can't certainly force people to come in. I can't dictate what's going to come in. We're trying to create the environment that people want to come in. I think we have that. We have a lot of people that want to come in. But I would love to have a supermarket. I think we got an excellent chance of having a farmer's market if we can find a location. I was talking to John Tagliano about it today. There's a building right next to the Blue House, and there's possibilities on my first time event. So, I wouldn't say it's certainly not a top priority, but it's been a priority. I know it's a need, and there's a lot of people who would like to have a grocery store in town. We have tried to get one, and we'll continue to do so.
Speaking of the Brew House, you mentioned it. You served on the GLDC. You also served on the IDA. Do you think the GLDC for Lockport, is it necessary? Is it successful? Has too much falling through, and is it a necessary component in the city?
I would like to see the GLDC be much more aggressive than they are. I mean.
Could you change that department head if you want them to be more aggressive than they are?
Yeah, we could. I think we could. I mean, all that's civil service and civil service
Yeah.
law, but, I mean, I go to a lot of places, and Schenectady, Albany.
Right.
And I remember one time I was reading an article, when I was in Schenectady, there was a big article about, they had development corporation that actually went in and bought an entire block. And they completely rebuilt this block with stores, they put a movie theater in, and the city owns this block. That's kind of why I think the reason we own Harrison Square today, Commerce Square, is because, I impressed upon the GLDC. I think we ought to get involved in that a little more. I think we ought, I think we ought to have a little more control of what goes on. So, to answer your question, I think the GLDC is necessary. I think we could be much more aggressive. I wish we had more money to help other people. We don't, but they do some good things. I mean, without the GLDC, there probably been no Albert City Center, there probably been no Canal Street, because they were very critical in that two developments. So I would like to see them be able to do more, and hopefully over time we'll be able to do more.
Yeah, and there are success stories. I mean, Mike Murphy, I think, was one of the original recipients of money. Ulrich, what you mentioned. I guess just, I don't know if the ones that defaulted outweigh those.
It's a good question. It's a good question because not everything works.
Right.
You try to go out there and
You take those chances, and it's
and make, try to afford people the opportunity to be successful.
Right.
Sometimes they don't work. Sometimes they do.
It's a corporation separate from the city budget, so if GLDC was going to go under,
It wouldn't affect the city.
Okay.
Yeah, separate entity altogether.
Ulrich City Center, obviously, we're all happy with where that's at, but from what I hear in the street, the tenants at Urban Park Towers, which looks great too, aren't so happy with Ulrich. What's going on there? Is there any way to make both parties happy?
Well, I think, and I've talked to some of the people over there, and, we've had no activity downtown for a long time. I think they're used to it, They're used to having peace and quiet downtown, but, this is the business district. If we're ever gonna have anything downtown, it's gonna involve entertainment, it's gonna involve music, it's gonna involve noise. We just lifted the noise ordinance so we can have some entertainment downtown, and working on a concert series for next year. We're gonna have a concert series there. I understand their plight up there, but if you live in the business district, you gotta take the good with the bad, and some of them actually go across the street. It's just a difficult thing. But like I said, I think if you live there, you have to understand that it's if you live in the downtown business district, that comes with it. I think and we will try to work with them, and certainly we understand their concerns, but we're gonna continue to develop downtown, and if we can get more restaurants and bars and clubs, for entertainment, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna work out in that direction.
What do you think the biggest challenge is going to be in the next few years for Lockport?
Well, I think there's a couple, but I think a big challenge for us is our infrastructure. It's a very difficult thing for us, and everybody knows the condition of our water and sewer lines. It's a challenge. It's an everyday challenge as we move forward with this building inspection change. That's going to be it's going to be a process that some people, quite honestly, aren't going to like, because we're going to get in some of these neighborhoods, and we're going to make sure that we're going to change some of these neighborhoods and make sure that we turn them around. Some people aren't going to like that. Some people are going to like somebody coming knocking on the door and telling them, listen, you got to paint your house, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's going to be a challenge for us. Ultimately, the overall never-ending challenge for us is taxes, and we have to get a grip on the taxes. We've worked hard in that regard the last 4 years. We'll continue to do so. But in Niagara County, and we all hear it, how highly taxed we're in Niagara County. It's difficult doing business in Niagara County. That's part of the reason I got on the IDA board, is because I thought that, as a mayor of a small city, I'm going to look out for our city, and I'm going to try to do some things. I think economic development is ultimately the offset of high taxes. We have to drive economic development.